Right. So this is episode 7 technically, but it's a bonus.
Yes.
It's happy hour.
Yes. I mean, we don't have any like real cocktails, but they're here in spirit, right?
Yeah, working moms, sometimes you can't get too lit on a weekday because
No.
I have a 9 a.m. meeting and I can't sleep through that. So
No.
I am drinking water.
Me too. Stay hydrated. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. You got to stay hydrated for the kids.
Yes.
But we want.
So,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so on this episode, we just wanted to kind of recap things and go over what the season has been. Because it's, first of all, I don't know about you, but to me, it's like flown by. But it's been so good. I feel like this one has developed so well. And I feel like both of us have learned so much. And it's just been a wealth of knowledge, not only for us, but I know for our listeners as well. So we just wanted to kind of recap things and then give you guys some updates on our lives and what's going on with us.
Yeah, true happy hour. I mean, I feel like that's what you do in a legit happy hour when you hook up with your girlfriends. You just talk about everything that you've experienced since the last time y'all met and laugh, share. And I feel like that's always our vibe. But I love having this episode kind of dedicated to that and looking back on season 2. The fact that we've done 6 episodes this quickly is wild.
Crazy, right?
Like, it's insane. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. The other day I woke up, it was Tuesday, and I was like, I feel like something's supposed to happen today. And then you just have that feeling like you're missing something. And then I got that notification of like episode 5.
Yep.
Of Shit Your Mama Ain't Tell You podcast is available now on Apple Music. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, I had no idea that
it's flown by. I feel like this season we've also gotten more into a rhythm with it.
Yes.
So it has just flowed much more easily. We haven't been like scrambling quite as much, I feel like, as season 1.
Yeah, definitely more organized. And it just makes me even more excited for season 3 because I just know like with every season, we're going to get better and better. It's going to be more and more elevated and just we're going to continue to grow. And our fan base on Instagram has grown so much, which I'm so excited about. And even our listeners and like listens and just, you know, the support that we have continues to be amazing. So it's super, super exciting. I think, let's see, what's your, if you had to pick a favorite episode, which one do you think is your favorite and why?
So I would say for me, it's tough because all of them are so good. But I would say, honestly, I think my favorite one was the mental health episode with Ashley Starwood.
Mm-hmm. That one was like mind-blowing. It was so
yes, it was so yes, it was so much information. Even, you know, both of us have been through pregnancy, been through postpartum, been through a few years now of having a child, and there was so much information that she was able to give us that I had no clue about. Like, for instance, that like baby blues is not a real thing. And that like I really did have like postpartum depression, didn't really know it. But now looking back, obviously that is what I had. But not only that, just like there were so many gems of information and she was so eloquent in the way that she was able to convey all the information to us that made sense to us. So it's not like so clinical.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. She was so relatable. Like when I was going and editing the video for that episode. So for those of you guys don't know, you know, we're working moms, we partner. Aryka edits our episodes for listening and I edit them for watching. So when I was going back and editing the video, I was like revisiting all the gems that she dropped. And I was like, the way that she spoke and explained everything was so down to earth and so relatable that I think it hit us in a way that would have been different if we were like reading it from somewhere or hearing it from, you know, some old white lady or something. Like she was so relatable. I remember being so shocked too that like postpartum depression can hit you all the way up through like the first year postpartum. I remember we both were like, what? Because I feel like everyone thinks it happens within the 4th trimester. And so the fact that you're actually susceptible to that for like a year was crazy to learn. Yeah, that was a really good episode. I really, really love that episode. But I think my favorite, and you would think that that would be my favorite because you guys know
I thought that was going to be yours too.
Mental health is a true passion of mine. check on me in 10 years. I might have my own clinical practice. Who knows? But my favorite was actually, it really, like the one about episode 5, the one that we just dropped. So like, it takes a village for real. And I loved Alicia. Like, I just felt her energy, and I just thought it was so we're bringing her back, guys. I was like, we have to have her back. I really, really love that one because I think it was, I know for me personally, it was so helpful to hear from somebody older than us that's done it. And I love her story about how, you know, her and her husband, it was just them, you know, they had each other at first when they first moved away from family, and they had to figure it out with their kids, and how she has raised her children to just be good people. And she has a really solid anchor, which is her faith. And I value the conversations that I have with other mothers. Obviously, that's why we have this podcast, because I feel like I learn every time. But I just feel like I learned a lot in the other episodes too, especially the one with Ashley, but Starwood. But I really just felt like I learned, like I was talking to like my auntie or my, you know what I mean? Like those type of gems, which was really, really cool. So I think that's my favorite episode.
Yeah, she has always been, she's my cousin, like we said in the episode. If you haven't listened to it, please go listen to it. And she has always been my favorite cousin. She's older than me, obviously, but she lived down here prior to me moving down here to Atlanta. So she kind of took me under her wing, and you know, anytime I would come visit, even prior to me moving here, I would stay with her. And she was almost like she could have been like a second mom to me. She's always so loving and just nurturing. And there was even a point in time where I was a little bit distant from some family and didn't talk to her for a little while. And then when I reached back out to her, it was like nothing had changed. And, you know, it's just, you know, she has that good energy.
She has a great spirit. You can tell. And I wasn't even physically in a room with her, just through us, you know, virtually talking. You could just tell that she has a really, really great spirit. So that's my favorite episode so far.
That was a good one too. I was a toss up between that one and the one with Ashley Starwood.
It's hard because I feel like obviously we love all of our episodes. It's our podcast, but I really, it is hard to look back and just pick like one favorite, especially this season, like you said, because I feel like we just grew so much from what we did in season 1. So favorite episodes, but do you have a favorite like moment that's maybe not from your favorite episode?
I would say, I feel like the episode with your cousin Ashley.
I was gonna say the same
thing.
I
feel like every moment basically in that one was so good, especially I think because her experience was so fresh. It is so fresh and raw, and you could feel how she felt. Like it just felt so, like I said, raw. It was such a good episode, and she was so good at expressing how she felt and being open about how she was feeling. And a lot of the things she was being open about are a lot of things that people don't really want to talk about. And I that was probably everything she said was a good moment for me in that episode.
Yeah, and that's funny you said that. I felt the same way, and I would say those are my favorite moments too. One, like you with Alicia, like Ashley is like my best friend. We're like sisters, even though we're cousins. And her energy is just infectious. Like she is the happiest, giggliest person I know, like on a consistent basis. And in the episode, like what you were saying, I just love, like, it was like I think it was when we first asked her like how she's doing. She's like, well, you know, I'm so grateful to be a mom. Like she gave like the political answer, and then she was like, but it's a lot. And then she started laughing. And it's like in that laugh and in the look, we already knew, like, sis, we get it because we've been there. And then, like you said, just how open and candid she was and how positive her energy was, even though her and her husband were going through so much at the time and had went through so much and still in the 4th trimester. I thought that was just a really great moment because, like you were saying, like, I think it really illustrates what somebody looks like when they're in that 4th trimester. Like, things are great, but I'm also a little beside myself, and it's hard. And
that's totally okay, because that's just how it is. That one was great. So what would you say and this could be, you know, one or two things, however many, were some things that you learned this season?
You know what? You said something in episode 6. So this is a Mother's Love episode, that when we were talking about, like, you know, how our lives have changed since we've had kids and blah, 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 blah. And you said, and I knew it, but when you said it, it all like clicked for me. That being Elijah's mother taught you the meaning of true love.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, I get goosebumps now because
I just did too when
I
you said
think
it.
when you said it, like I said it all like like downloaded in my brain. Like, yeah, I think that's like, there's a whole bunch of things that I've learned since becoming a mother,
Right.
but that's the biggest thing. Like, I know what it means now to really love someone. Like, I was talking to my dad the other day, just sharing some stuff that I had going on with him, and he was just hyping me up, and he was like, I've loved you since before you were born, and just being like my dad. And normally I would be like, okay, Paul, wrap it up.
Right.
But I was like, you know what? I know what you mean now. I know
Mm-hmm.
what you mean now. Like, I get it. Like, I can't wait until Trey is, 30 something and telling me about, everything he has going on, and I'm cheering him on. Like, I understand what that means. So I would say that was one of the biggest things. And then the other thing I would say was in the mental health episode with Ashley Starwood about baby blues, not like what you said earlier, baby
Mm-hmm.
blues not being a real thing. I mean, I know we were both like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
and I won't say not being a real thing, but people not wanting to acknowledge and recognize that postpartum depression comes in a lot of different ways. It shows up on people in a lot of different ways. And to
Mm-hmm.
try to get away from the stigma, we call it the baby blues, when in reality, it really is postpartum depression. It just may not be showing up as severe as some of us think that it is. And I also learned postpartum anxiety. I didn't know that that was a thing.
I didn't really either. Mm-mm.
And that there's like levels to it, and that the levels are based off of your capacity to care for yourself and your child safely.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a way, again, like, I knew that because I knew in general, if people are depressed or have anxiety, it's the same way. Like, if you're a threat to yourself or someone else, then they consider you to be someone that needs additional help and might need to be, hospitalized or whatever. But for whatever reason, I didn't think that it was the same for postpartum depression. So I think
Right.
really that whole, I mean, like we already talked about, that whole episode was like one big gem. But I would
Yeah.
say those two things from that episode, realizing that the baby blues is just postpartum depression, and that there are different postpartum mental health disorders that somebody could have.
Yeah, definitely. I think those are great ones. Those are definitely things that I learned as well. Um, and in addition to that, I would say in the episode 6 with was that 5 or 6? 5.
Live with Alicia, yeah.
With Alicia, at the end when she, you know, you asked her about any gems to drop, and one of them that she said, I feel like I knew it, but I didn't really ever think about it, was that you need to teach your children like who they are.
Yeah.
And that is something that is like, you know, you're always teaching them and trying to help them, you know, learn all the things they need to know and building them up. You know, I do affirmations with Elijah and teach him, you know, to speak positively about himself. But I think it might be because he is still so young. I really hadn't thought about needing to teach him who he is. And after she said that, I was like, that is so, so important. And
Yes.
since then, I know I've kind of tried to instill what I can anyway, because he's only 3, but instill that more in him and really work on doing his affirmations and expanding on them, just not being, you know, I am strong, I am handsome, all that. I have added, you know, I can do anything, I believe in myself, all those things, that it really will help him develop a sense of who he is. So that was definitely one of them. And um and just like you said, I think everything in Ashley Starwood's episode was like, now I can't even think of, there's more besides what you just said, the postpartum anxiety and the baby blues. But I would also say that's the other one, different ways on how to alleviate some of those symptoms. So like when you are really feeling anxious, doing the breathing techniques. And I obviously, you know, everybody's heard about the breathing techniques and all that, but like actually implementing them and using them in times of anxiety or when you're feeling overwhelmed or any of that, I think that was something that even now when I'm not in postpartum, I need to implement more. Especially because like right now, Elijah's 3. We're working on, you know, he knows his letters, his numbers, colors, all that stuff. But like I'm really trying to every day after he gets out of school, at some point sit him down and work on something. Like even if there were tracing our lines, we're doing something. And he has this habit of wanting to get silly, doing all this, laughing, giggling. And it sets me off. Like it makes me want to snap on him. Like I want to shake him. I'm not even gonna lie. It really sets me off because he does it to things that he knows, and I know he knows, but he's playing around.
It's frustrating,
and just remembering, like it happened last night and a little bit tonight, that I calmed myself down. I breathed a little bit. I talked with one of our friends over the weekend who is a speech therapist, and she works a lot with kids. And she gave me some pointers on some things to do, like setting a timer and all of that for learning time. So it makes it a little bit more fun for him. And just taking those steps so I don't get anxious and overwhelmed when I'm trying to help him. That is major. And that's definitely something I learned from Ashley Starwood's episode for sure.
All of what she said, and to your point, like some of it I think I already knew, but the context of how to use it was really important. And the way that she spoke and the way that she presented the information made it like just all like do like fall in line in my brain. And I was like, oh shit, I need to be using this like all the time, not just, you know, in certain situations. And totally agree. And I've reached that point I felt really bad because I like lost it on him a couple weeks ago because he had pink eye, and I was trying to get the medicine in his eye, and he was just, Mama, no. And I'm like, 20 minutes. And I was like, when you open your eye. And he looked at me like,
offended, like, you talking to me like that?
Yes. And my heart just breaks because he's crying and he really looks hurt. And I'm just really like, Trey is 2 and he is 2.
So you gotta say
he's 2. And so I'm really trying to toughen up. Like I'm really trying to get in my discipline bag and think to myself, like I get it. My dad used to say it hurts me more than it hurts you when he would discipline us. And I would look at him like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Because I would like to go do A, B, and C. You get to go do whatever you want to because you're an adult. And an adult is awesome, but that's a lie.
Lies they tell us.
And I know what he means now because it does. Like it just breaks my heart every time I have to raise my voice or, you know, pop him or discipline him anyway. But I just keep thinking to myself, like, that's my job to discipline him.
We have to prepare him.
Yes. So I'm struggling, but I'm trying to. Luckily, you know, his dad is disciplinarian, so I get a little bit off. But I also want him to, like you with Elijah. Like I've been since that episode 2 with your cousin. I didn't do I tried to do affirmations with him, but he was 1 and it wasn't really. He was like, nah. But now I'll say, Baba, aren't you so brave? Say, I am brave. Say, I am this. But I want it to be more than that. And one thing that I also want to make sure that I do, which ties in with what Alicia said, is I want to see him for who he is. I think as parents, and I know she spoke to this, we know what we want our children to be, or we think we know what we want them to be. And I think a lot of parents, and I think our parents' generation were guilty of this as well. We don't just sit back and see what our children naturally are sometimes. And I think that that's important to see who they naturally are, what they naturally like, what they're naturally good at, and then encourage them to like lean into whatever that is versus like, oh no, everybody in my family plays basketball, so you're going to play basketball, or you're tall, so you're going to play basketball. But if your son or daughter or whatever doesn't like basketball, like what are you really doing? Because eventually they're going to gravitate towards what they want to do. That's what we do as humans, right? We try to work through all our crap as adults. And eventually we go find the thing that we really love, our passion. And we try to, if we're lucky, we can turn that into more than, a hobby or whatever. But I feel like if parents were more tuned into their kids from go, adults wouldn't be so lost. A lot of adults wouldn't be so lost.
Because people already are like, so my husband is a musician and he plays the drums. And everybody is always like, oh, does Elijah play the drums? Does he love the drums? And we got him a drum set and all of that. Even when he was younger, he liked playing on his daddy's drums way more. Now, the drum set's in the living room. He might bang on it every now and then, but he's not into it. And that's okay. Like, he doesn't have to play drums just because his dad played drums. Now, we would like him to play an instrument at a certain point because it's good for him.
Yeah.
But he's much more interested in doing his blocks or lining up his truck so he has a traffic jam or, any of that stuff. And I'm okay with that. That's because that's what he loves. That's what he's interested in. I don't want him to play the drums because then he's going to hate it.
Yep.
Exactly. And that's not going to be good for anybody.
Yeah. And he might come back around to it. And it's funny that you said that. Exactly. Isaiah, that's my nephew. Trey loves playing the drums. The man has like a little music corner where all his toys are. He's still in his crib. We're working on it. I finally found a gate for his door. So stay tuned. He'll be in a toddler bed soon. But he's still in the crib. And he has all of his like musical toys in a little corner that's right next to the crib. I don't know what. I actually watched him do it on the monitor the other day. He will reach through the bars, pick up a toy, and like then go over the top and grab it so he can get it in his crib. A couple weekends ago, I woke up. It was like on a Saturday, and I went downstairs. The man had a whole setup. He had his karaoke machine with the mics out. He had his drum set and was like drumming on his little like plastic drum set. And he had his piano too. I was like, Baba, what are you doing? He just like held up his drumsticks like, look at me. So yeah, he loves to drum on anything. So we'll see where that goes. He's approaching the age where I feel like I can start to maybe put him in something. Cause when they're so young, I know you had Elijah in soccer last year. So I'm trying to find a program that accepts
a waste of my money.
Just to start him. And that's another thing too, the money. But yeah, I think I agree. That was a huge gem because I think we get so focused on like the day-to-day grind. It's like when you have a job and you're like, well, what does the day in the life look like? Like, what are the daily responsibilities? And I think sometimes we get so caught up in the daily responsibilities, bath time, bedtime, reading time,
100%,
that you don't ever lose sight of the real like purpose and goal of being a good parent and raising your child to be a happy and high functioning adult. But I think I just think sometimes that's not at the front of your mind. Like before I hopped on, it was like, I got to get him in bed because I have to do this podcast.
You're just trying to get through each day.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like, and they say the days are long and the years are short. Like every day of the day is like
more than true.
When it is bedtime. But then you look up and they turn, the next day, you're like, oh, I remember when they were
Or girl, I'd be dropping him off at daycare and like right afterwards, I'd be like, damn, I miss Elijah.
I know.
I felt like, no, I don't really want to pick him up. He'll be all right.
Yeah. I was late getting him, like later than normal, getting him today. And I just felt so bad. I was like fast and furious through traffic. I was like, let me get to my baby. And of course he was fine when I picked him up.
Of course he was, but it's always us.
Yeah. And he's like, Mama, who's next? I'm like,
he's still on his fruit snacks.
Yeah, we switched to he was eating these Baby Shark fruit snacks. And I was like, nah. So I switched to organic ones, which makes me feel a little bit better about him eating them. But he can't get enough. A man loves a fruit snack. But now I will say, how about some berries? And he'll say, okay. So he likes that. I just think, what kid doesn't like fruit snacks or candy or whatever?
I still eat a fruit snack, so I don't even do it now because I'll eat a few packs of them if I get.
Yeah, because there's none in there either. And my man will eat one and then be like, Mama, I'm done. I'm like, okay. And then he'll be like, more food?
Right. Like, where the rest go?
No, you have one.
Appetizer.
You did good to get the one that you got. So be cool, brother. Like, they're a trip. So what we talked about our favorite episode, our favorite moments, new things we learned. what I loved about this season was that we started bringing guests in. I know that's something that we
Yes,
talked about
too.
from the beginning, and I'm excited to continue with that. So what was, and it might bleed into like our favorite moment, but what was one of your favorite like guest moments from season 2?
You know what? I really enjoyed on Ashley Starwood's episode, the mental health, when she spoke about her experience with her pregnancy and postpartum. Because it was really interesting to see what her experience was coming from her, mental health background, her being a clinical social worker,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how she dealt with it. And it's so funny to see, because you always think about like how your therapists or counselors, how they deal with things in their own personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear that from her was very, very interesting to me. How she, she didn't obviously, when you're in your own situation, you're not going to take your own advice, because it's like
Yeah.
you're doling that out to other people. You got this, you're
Mm-hmm.
fine, which is exactly what she said. And I thought that was really interesting to see, and to see how she was able to work through it and really come out better on the other side. But how, she struggled with some of the same things that we struggled with.
Mm-hmm.
And, it just lets you know that we're all human, and we all deal with things in our
Yep.
own different ways, but we all have our own struggles.
Yep. And it all hits us differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. That was a good moment. I don't know. I have so many favorite moments. So one of them was when in that same episode with Ashley Starwood, which is episode 3, you and I were talking about how when we went back to work, even though it was hard, that was around the time when we felt like our postpartum depression kind of dissipated. And
Right.
she sat back and she had this like, it was like she was on the podcast, but you could just tell that she really enjoys her work and she's very in tune with people, because she was like, it's because we asked her a question and she was like, I'll get to that. But it's interesting. I was listening to you guys just now and I just realized something. You guys both said that you felt like you came out of your postpartum depression when you went back to work. And it reminds me of the importance of routine. Like it's so
Mm-hmm.
important to have a routine. And then she went on to like give her gems about, how to overcome. And I think that might have been the question that you asked, is like how to
Yeah.
work through postpartum depression if you don't have access to professional help or resources. And she talked about how important it was to have a routine. And I was just talking to a friend today and she was like, I've never had a routine. And she's an older woman, she's my hairdresser, and she has 3 daughters. All of them are our age or older,
Mm-hmm.
or like around our age. And she was like, I've never had a routine. I was like, I don't know what I would do without my
Yeah,
routine.
I need
Like
my
I would
routine
lose,
too.
I wouldn't, don't like just lock me in a room. Like I don't even know what I'd be able to, like I would not be a normal human being. And even though there are certainly days, probably more days than not, where things don't go according to my routine, but
Yeah,
in
I mean,
my
that's
head,
life.
I have it and I know what it is, and I'm still striving to like get back on track. So
Yeah.
to just wake up every day and be like, "Meow," like not have a routine,
Yeah.
I can't even. And I think,
Especially with a child.
yeah, and she has
Mm-hmm.
3 and she stair stepped her daughter. She was like, even when I was raising, she was a stay-at-home mom. She's like, even when I was raising my girls, I didn't have a routine. And I'm like, what life were you living?
How did you even
And
survive?
like kudos to you for being able to manage 3 children with no routine. Like, and her,
Mm-hmm.
like one of her daughters is a doctor, the other one works for the government, and then the third one, I think she's like a physical therapist or something. Like, bruh, I could never.
Yeah.
I could
Mm-mm.
never.
I need my routine.
Yeah. So that was one of my favorite moments. And then I say the second one was in episode 5 with Alicia, when she said, she's like, people always say like, oh, you have smart kids or you have this or that. Cause I think she shared both of her kids are in the medical profession. Like one's like a biochemist and one is a physician or something, I think she said.
She's a physician assistant. Yeah.
Mhm. And she was like, I just raised them to be good people. I just raised them to like have an anchor. And she talked again about her anchor, which is her faith. And she transferred that to her kids. She's like, no, they just happen to do what they do. And I'm very proud of them. But I just raised my kids to be good people. And that goes back to the earlier point about people losing sight sometimes about of, the real goal, or at least in my opinion, of what, a parent should do for their child. And I think we try to make our kids be something specific, or put this pressure on them, like, oh, you have to make X amount of money to be considered successful, or you have to do this certain thing. Like, no, they just need to be good, happy people. Like, that's really the goal. Like, you could be
really
a
is.
garbage truck man. Like, I don't care. As long as you're happy and you can
Mhm.
take care of yourself in this world, like, do your thing.
That's all that matters. That's what we're here for, is for
Yeah.
them to be able to grow up and be good people and take care of themselves. Because at the end of the day, like, I know a lot of people that okay, I have a friend, for instance, who she has 2 children. Her first one they're both still young. The oldest, I think, is like 8 or somewhere around there. And she realized when she had her second one, or maybe when she was pregnant with her second one, that they hadn't really taught her to do things on her own. So she didn't know how to, like, go to the fridge and get something to drink, or just do really anything on her own. And it made me kind of feel bad, because she also would kind of talk down about her. And I was like, well, I'm thinking this because I didn't want to offend her. But it's like, that was you and your husband's job. Like, it was y'all's job to instill things in her and help her to do things. And
Yeah.
sometimes, especially when they are younger, it can feel like you're being mean by, like, not doing something for them that they can do themselves. But it's like, no, that's what they're there for. Now, I'll be honest, I need to be working more with Elijah on him, like, pulling up his own pants and doing all that stuff. But
I
unless
feel
it's
like for
a
boys,
rush, but honey, he's
yeah.
taking too long. And but
Yeah.
that is something I am conscious of. Like, listen, he's going to be in preschool next year, and he needs to be okay with pulling up his own underwear and his pants and stuff after he goes to the potty, and just doing certain things on his
Yeah.
own. But that is what we're here for. They need to become independent adults.
Yeah.
And if you teach them young, it doesn't make it as hard for them to learn it.
Yes, totally. I think that's such a great point, because I'm in a similar spot with Trey now, and it's actually helped me have more patience, because I know, like, there are things that I didn't even necessarily think that I was quote unquote teaching him when he was like 1, and even before he turned 1, but that I did, just through doing it consistently. I would tell him things like, Trey, you're not supposed to do that. Do you understand? And he would just stare at me, and I would go say, yes, mama. And he wouldn't say anything. And then one day when he started really talking, he was like, yeah, mama. And now I'll say, do you understand? Do you understand? And he'll say, yeah, mama. Now, whether or not he understands remains to be seen. But it's just, my point is, through that consistency and just having patience with him, I taught him something. And so I have to remind myself when I get frustrated, like, can you please put this book away? Or can you please do this? Can you please do that? And he's taking a long time. I'm like, well, Briana, that's what you're here for. The man is fresh
To
out,
learn
right, the
somehow.
man fresh out the box. You gotta teach him, like,
Right.
he has to learn that, and you have to be patient with him while you teach him. And I think we're so, our adults, as adults, our lives are so crazy and hectic, and then you throw a kid in and it blows everything else up, that, like you said, like, I gotta go. I don't have time for you. And sometimes I don't have time for him to figure out how to put his own crock on in sport mode. Like, I don't have, like, just get him on, let's get out the door, or how to, zip up his backpack or whatever it is. But I try really, really hard to be patient with him, especially in that way, because I feel like that's, to your point, like, he has to learn. And I'm very proud, because he is very independent. Like, he can, I think for his age, like, he can go and pick out I was like, okay, you think you're smart. The other day, he just had on a diaper and it was a little cold in here. We had the air running. I was like, Baba, you need your house shoes and you need some pajamas. Can you please go in your closet and bring me your green house shoes and find some pajamas? He knows what drawer the pajamas are in, and his house shoes are just like sitting out where he can grab them. So he, after like 3 minutes, he came in and he had pajamas, like footy pajamas. I was like, where are the house shoes? And he just handed me the pajamas. And then I realized they were footy pajamas. I was like, oh, you think you're
You
smart?
didn't need them. Yeah.
Right. I was like, and then I was like, Baba, you are so brilliant. You are so smart. You just knew. And he was like, yeah.
Yeah, just put them on. I'm
And he
cold.
was like, yeah, just put them on. Like, he was over me. But I was just like, those little moments where you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is the whole human. Like, this is the whole person with their own thoughts, feelings, ideas. And I'm strapped in for the rest of the ride because he's 2 going on 12. So I can only imagine what's going to be like in the next 16 years and beyond. But
that's what we're here for.
I know. So I feel like season 2, like we said, was great. I know season 3 is going to be even better. And we can't wait to bring it to you guys. Stay tuned. But I think before we wrap this episode, just want to give some updates if we have any. I don't know that I have any. I mean, I have one that's not really related to being a mom, but I got promoted at work, so I'm very, very excited.
Hey, that's amazing.
I have literally been in shock because I work for a company where I've been told that certain types of like jumps just take time. Like, you can't just like, oh, start. And I think that's anywhere, like not even just where I work. I just think like you have to wait before you can really get promoted into a certain, type of role or quote unquote level of a role. And I knew of this position opening up and had a relationship with, the hiring team. And if you know me, the cost of daycare has been killing me. And at the end of April, I really sat down like a grown up and I just looked at everything financially. And I was just like, okay, this is what I need, cut back on this, make an adjustment here. And I looked at what I would need to be able to like just live comfortably in this country. And I was short. I was like, okay. So I prayed to the good Lord. And I was like, Lord, please let me have like this role on this team, making this amount of money. And I want to know that I'm in the role or either have the role by my birthday. I found out that I got the role on this past Monday and my birthday is Saturday. So I'm just telling like my little testimony or whatever. But I'm just like so grateful. And
I'm so happy for you. That's amazing.
Yes, I'm so, so excited. Like, it just, everything about it just feels right. I'm really, really excited. My new manager is amazing.
And you'll be away from a certain somebody you won't have to deal with anymore.
Yep. It's going to be great. I'm very, very excited. And so that's like really the biggest update with me. Trey is Treying. He is really, really talking.
Girl, just you wait. It gets even better and better. Gooder and gooder, as they say.
New favorite phrases are no, I'm not. And I don't even know where that came from. He spent the weekend with his grandparents and came back telling me, no, I'm not. I was like, where did you
all it takes is one person to say it and that he liked it.
He probably heard it from me. He probably heard it from me and just put it into practice over there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I'm not. Telling me to shush, complete with finger over his mouth. Shh, mama, shh. And hop it, which is stop it. Hop it, which I know he got from me because I'm always telling him to stop. Trey, stop. Please stop.
2-year-olds are real bossy. So would a 3-year-old.
And I'm like, bro, who are you talking to? Who are you telling to stop? No, mama. No.
Elijah told me today, he told me he wanted some puffs. I didn't get up fast enough. So he put his arm behind, we're sitting on the couch. He put his hand behind my back, pushed me up and said, Mommy, go in the kitchen, get a bowl, put puffs in and bring to me.
I would have been like, sir, Trey's good for that. He will put my mama, get up. He will literally like put his hand, if I'm laying down, he'll put his little hands under my head and really act like he's about to lift me up. Same thing. Lay down, mama. Lay down. He'll call himself pushing me. Or, come on, mama, let's go. I'm like, bro, if you don't, and Trey is really strong. Like, he can move me. If I'm standing up and he's like pushing against me, I have to work to not move. So that's scary in itself because
too
freakishly strong, but yeah, very demanding, very bossy. And I'm trying to come up for a word, like with a word for it, because I don't like the word demanding, but he's just very like,
he knows what he wants.
For something he expects for it to be done. Like, why haven't you fulfilled my request, ma'am? Like, I told you I wanted some water in this cup. Why is it empty? And he'll get to shaking it and stuff. And I'm like, and part of it is amusing, but the other part is like, you don't want to encourage, bad habits and things that were, if they weren't at home or if they were talking to someone else, you wouldn't want them to interact. So I still try to remind him, like, you have to say please and thank you.
We need to have our manners.
The new one is anytime he hears no, he bursts into fake tears. And then when I asked him, I'm like, Trey, why are you crying? I don't know. I said, so then maybe you shouldn't be crying. And then I struggle with that statement because, and I know he's only 2, but to your point, just like instilling certain things in them so young, I don't want to tell him that. I don't want to tell him that he can't cry if he doesn't know why he's crying, because that's not
but
true.
there needs to be a reason.
But you do need to eventually get to the root of why you're crying. And you and I both know that you, one, aren't really crying. And my man's is talented because like like the lip pouts, the head drops, and when he brings the head back up, he's got good tears flowing out. But then if I give him whatever it is I told him no to, immediately he's fine. And so I'm just like working through that, because
he might need to go into an acting class because
he's very good. Yes, he's very talented. And it's so easy to just give him what he wants so he'll be quiet. But I'm really, like I said, I'm really working on my discipline vibe. Like I'm just trying to stand firm and redirect him. Trey does really well with redirection. If I offer something else or just divert his attention, he usually will. That's how I know nothing's wrong with him, because he'll be fine in like 2 seconds. So other than that, we're good. We're good over here. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Elijah is 3 going on 13, like Trey. He is beyond talkative and bossy, but he is so stinking smart. This doesn't make any sense. We're at our friend's house they have like 35 acres. They have tons of property. So we ride around an ATV there. He goes to the front of it and goes, "Mommy, that's the chassis." So what the fuck is a chassis? He said, "Mommy, that's the chassis." And the husband there, he's like, "Oh, that's where they, all the engine and all that stuff sits." I said, "How the hell do you know what a chassis is?" But he is so into cars. He knows every part of a car. He knows this is an electric car and this one is a regular car. This one, the motor's not working. I'm like, what? He knows it.
That's impressive.
That's his thing.
I didn't know what that was until just now.
I didn't either. He teaches me something new about a car or a construction vehicle every single day.
That's cool.
So yeah, we're just expanding on that, and we are expecting baby number 2.
Yay! Congratulations. Clearly I knew this already, but I have to act surprised.
We have to act surprised.
For sake of entertainment. So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yes.
Congratulations.
I am. Thank you. I am 12 weeks in at this point in time, it is July 13th. I am 12 weeks, like 4 days. So I'm almost done with the first trimester. So there will be more to come about my pregnancy, because obviously this is a podcast about motherhood, pregnancy, and all of that good stuff. So I will be sharing a lot more, and that will be coming soon. So yes, I am not like super showing. I can show you. It's like a little bit, but it's not like.
Oh, yeah. I miss that.
This feels kind of bloated. Don't have to suck in your stomach anymore. That's the only good thing about
it. That's the best part. I let my shit ride like 2 months in. Like, bonk. Like, once everybody knew, I was like, yup, I'm over.
And I will say with this one, with the second one, I feel like I'm showing sooner. Like, I feel like with Elijah, I could hide it a little bit longer. Also with Elijah, I lost a lot of weight the first trimester. This one, I've only gained, I think, like 3 or 4 pounds.
That's great.
Yeah, thank God. But I didn't have as many aversions or anything like that. But I definitely feel like I'm like, none of my pants fit on the top. I have to do like the little rubber band trick, and that's about not to work. So I got to get me a few maternity pants. But
yeah. Well, congratulations! I'm so excited. So, all right, do you think you guys will be done after this one?
We know we'll be done after this one. Yeah, no more.
That's good. Yeah, 2 is enough.
2 is more than enough.
Yeah, I was telling somebody else today. I love how people just casually suggest you should have another baby, as if they're going to be there when the baby comes.
Or carry the baby or any of that.
Right. Are you paying for daycare? I'm struggling to pay for daycare for one. And the person that talked to me about it today was like, "Oh, you won't experience any increased expenses when they first come out." Oh, yeah.
Don't they have to wear diapers?
Right. Her children are grown. So she was That's what happens. People get amnesia because it's the same
That's
thing.
exactly what
Like
it is.
Ashley's son now, Ashley can't Marchbanks. Oops, excuse me, Ashley Marchbanks, my cousin that was on episode 2. Her baby will be 6 months tomorrow, actually,
Oh,
July
wow.
14th. And it was so funny. I don't know, you just to watch somebody else go through what you just went through. I'm sure it's the same way when I tell you stuff about Trey because you just are coming out of it with
Yeah.
Elijah. It's like you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's hindsight's 2020, right? So you always looking
Yeah,
back
you
like,
forget all that stuff as
and
you're
I feel like,
going.
yeah, when you talk to people with like grown kids, and it can be frustrating sometimes. So I'm like, I'm going through it. Do you remember what it felt like to go through it? Like, I feel like people don't remember what it felt like. So they're quick to just like brush you off when you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm
Mhm.
going through A, B, and C. Oh yeah, it'll get easier. That'll get easier. When?
Yeah.
Can you please let me
Like,
know
I need a
when?
timeline.
And are you available to help now? Because I need the help now. So, but I know you guys will be perfectly fine. How does Elijah feel?
He's excited. He keeps on saying that he's going to be a big brother. He keeps on saying I'm going to have a big brother, so we're trying to make sure like no, you are the big brother.
Yeah. That's the
And he
boy.
keeps on saying, "Mommy has a baby in her belly." I said, "Yes, mommy has a baby in her belly," but that's about as far as he's going right now. We
Yeah.
ask him if he wants a baby brother or a sister. He says he wants a baby sister, and we want to have a baby brother. So we're gonna see what
Well, somebody
happens.
will be happy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. We have no say so over it. We're just going to go with the flow. We'll be happy, of course, with whatever God blesses us with, but we would prefer to have another boy.
Once we drop the episode and like we reveal all of this on Instagram, we should do like a poll to see what people think you're
Mm-hmm.
having. And then
Yeah.
if you're comfortable whenever you're ready, you can like announce it.
Yeah.
I am going to put my prediction in now. I think it's a girl. And I'm sorry. Only because your symptoms, like I said, I've known about this for a while. Thank you. And of course, we connect often and, checking on each other when we're not recording. And you have symptoms that are kind of similar to Elijah, but they're different. Like
Yeah, they have been different.
you're experiencing things that you didn't experience with Elijah. So that's why I think that it's a girl because it's not the same, which we know every pregnancy is different anyway, whether it's a boy or a girl, but that's my gut. I'm going with a girl.
Yeah, you're not the only one to have said that. So even the girl that braids my hair, she was like, "You're having a girl," and I'm never wrong. I was like, "Okay, I guess we'll see." Yeah, I mean, we'll know soon because I'll do the test next week, and then they said they'll have it within a week or so because it's a blood
So
test.
much anxiety. So are you going to do like a gender reveal and have a secret keeper, or are you just going to find
Yeah, I think I don't have time for all that. I just want to know.
out? I feel you're like,
I
no.
just want to know. I think especially too with the second one. I did not do that with Elijah either, but I just want to know, like, so I can be prepared. So I can know if I'm having a girl, I need to get rid of all Elijah old clothes that I've been keeping.
Oh yeah,
For,
holding on to just in case. Yeah.
yeah.
That's true. I feel the same way with certain. Just like, just tell me. I mean, I think with the first one though, I think it's the people around you sometimes that are more excited about everything than you are. Because I will say I didn't want to have a gender reveal, but I wasn't planning to have one. And
Yeah.
then like I woke up one day in like the middle of the night, and Eric was on the computer making a flyer for our gender reveal party. Like he had already started planning it, and I thought that was very, very sweet. And
Yeah.
he came. I'm sure he had help from his sister, but he came up with the theme and everything. And I was like, oh, and I'm looking back, I'm so happy we did it because it was a really good experience. But maybe you guys can do something for Elijah where he like you guys know, but he doesn't. But that could, if it's a girl, because otherwise it might backfire because he doesn't
Yeah,
want
he might. Who knows?
a baby
We'll
brother.
see. I
But by
mean,
the time you start like showing, and he can see for himself like the changes, I think, and like I think what's also cool is he's steady growing up as you're growing the baby. So
yeah,
he's going to get more and more mature and more aware of
yeah,
what's happening. And so it'll be
definitely.
cool to see how his reaction and like how he's handling and preparing to be a big brother, how that works out. And I think he's
We'll
going to
see.
be an amazing big brother.
Yeah, I
Like,
think he'll be good. It'll take some adjustment, some getting used to from being an only child to a big brother, but he'll be
mhm,
fine. He's such a good kid that I'm not worried about it at all.
yeah. Well, that's so exciting. I'm so excited for you
Yes.
guys.
Thank
Congratulations. And I'm not gonna
you.
lie, I have to keep it 100. When you told me, I was like, yes, because this is gonna make fantastic content
I
for
thought the same thing too.
season 3 and for Instagram and YouTube. It's just great because, you
Yeah.
know, everything we've talked about thus far, and we've talked about this offline when we're planning for future episodes. And that's why we felt it was so important to start bringing guests in this season and to continue to do that, because we really want the podcast to be true to its name and to our goal, which is to share, but also be shared with, to build
Yeah.
community. And
Mhm.
that community is a community of mothers, and for us, you know, Black millennials who are also mothers.
Mhm.
And now that you're pregnant again and going to be going through everything again, it's a fresh wave, it's a fresh perspective, it's happening in real time, and we can compare. I mean, it just opens up the door for so much. And I
Mhm.
know, you know, on next season too, we want to continue to bring people in that have kids that are older than us.
Mhm.
um, I think it would be cool too to have an episode where we talk to, especially if you end up having another boy, like boy moms versus girl moms, just to
Mhm.
see, and not like a Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC or Mariana
No, just the
way. Just
differences,
in a, yeah,
the
like just
similarities.
because I think that they're, especially for, I think for a dad too, but especially for a mom. I mean, that boy, I mean, my
Nothing like it.
son, that man loves me, and I'm really, really soaking it up because I know he'll have his interests and his friends. And at a certain age, just like with you know, young women, you gravitate, I think, more towards the parent of your same sex, because
Yeah.
they went through, like, you know, like around like puberty and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
definitely.
I can't help him with that. His dad is going to have to help him with that. And then, you
Mhm.
know, I'm here. So I'm just soaking it all up because you know, I don't think we realize our kids are only young, like, for 4 years, and then they're in
Yes,
school,
it
and then
is.
they have their own calendars and social lives. And it's just really, really, that time goes by fast. Like, we're already 2 and 3 years in, and I just want to
Well,
soak it.
Elijah will be 4 next year.
That is wild. And the fact that it's almost August. So we're recording this episode on July 13th. It's basically almost August. We're halfway
Mhm.
through July at this
Yeah,
point, and we're more than halfway through the year. So pretty
already.
soon we'll be planning for Christmas and birthdays again, which is crazy. And you'll be prepping for life, new life. When are you due?
January 21st.
Ooh, ooh, that is a fresh Aquarius, January
Mhm.
21st. I like
And
Aquarius.
somebody told me that Aquarius, Elijah's a Pisces. They said Pisces and Aquarius get along really
Let's say
well.
they'll get along very well. Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Aquariuses are good people. My grandma was an Aquarius. I don't know anybody that doesn't like her. They're good people. And Pisces are good people. My cousin Ashley is a Pisces.
That makes
She's
sense.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very happy folks. No,
Mhm.
it's water signs.
Yes.
Um, because if you know me, you know I'm a Cancer. Random. I did like one of those anonymous question things on my Instagram, and
Mm.
one came through that was like, "What's your sign?" I was like, "So you're new here." Because
Right.
like, if you know me or you follow me on social,
Yeah,
specifically
like how could you
Instagram,
not know?
like, it's Cancer season. I'm like, what are, oh, like, yeah, all right, you're new here. But we digress. Your news, your update is amazing. More life. I
Yours
can't
is
wait.
too. That's
Yeah,
so exciting.
thank you. I'm very, very, very excited. I just feel like, you know, God definitely answered my prayers, and I'm grateful because that means that I'm on the right path. And it's crazy because since I prayed that, I've just been really like more in tune and just kind of more aware of my surroundings. And
Mhm.
I see angel numbers all the time. For like 3 nights
Mhm.
straight, I woke up at 4:44 every night. And up until then, 4:44 for me was just Jay-Z's album name.
Right.
I was then like on night two, I was like, what? I was like, this has to mean
That's
something.
not a coincidence.
And then I see 11:11 a lot. I see 11:11
Mhm.
and 4:44 a lot, but I'll see 3:33 or 5. And it's not always in and on the clock either. It's just in different ways. Like I was tracking my calories for something, and the salad I made was 444 calories. And I was just like, and
Look at
every
that.
time I'd like get this little jolt, it just feels like a pat on the back from, you know, God and the universe. Like, you know, you're moving in the right direction. And this promotion feels like that. Like literally the door has been opened, and I know that I'm going to walk through. And so I feel like it's the next chapter of not only my career, but of my life. So I'm very
Yes.
excited. We'll see what happens. I am still, for those that are curious, leaning towards the one and done vibes with the kids.
Nothing wrong
But
with that.
if anything changes, I'll be sure to let you know. And now I'll live vicariously through Aryka.
There you go. That works.
Yes. So I think this is a great happy hour. I think that we should do this every season. I think
we have
to like recap and look back. Yeah, and I'm excited for season 3. Y'all stay tuned.
Yes, you have to stay tuned. Make sure you're caught up, not only on the podcast listening, but watching on YouTube, because there's a difference when you watch it as well. And there will be more to come on YouTube as well.
Yep. We are really, really going to work and have grace, guys. We have grace with ourselves. Have grace with us, because we are moms.
We trying.
We trying. We working. Aryka's growing a whole new life.
We have good intentions.
Girl, we do have very good intentions, but we're going to get better with bringing you guys more content more consistently. And we appreciate all of the love that you've been giving us on the content that we do share. Like I said, our Instagram has grown tremendously just in the past couple months since we've had season 2 up. And I'm really, really looking forward to continuing to watch our community grow and for us to be able to do more outside of just the podcast and, YouTube and Instagram. I'm excited to see what this will turn into, because it's going to be great. And it can't be great without you guys, our listeners and watchers. So thanks so much. That is an official wrap on season 2, which is wild. But
another one under our belt. I'm so excited.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back for season 3.
Yes, y'all be good.
Be good, y'all.